Oh boy. Yeah, we could be talking about the playoffs. We could be talking about Game 2. We could be talking about all the notes heading into Game 2, because those will inevitably be out by the time this video is probably public on YouTube. But don't worry, we will go over all the notes. We will talk about some of the important topics heading into Montreal-Washington Game number 2, which will take place this afternoon. But before that, I wanted to talk about another one of these New York Islanders and Montreal connections. Because yesterday, if you had seen the video that we made about Lou Lamoriello's firing, we didn't really talk about Lou Lamoriello's firing. We talked more so about how the Montreal Canadiens could use Lou Lamoriello's firing as an opportunity for them to make a trade for either Bo Horvat or Mathew Barzal. This has been a decently discussed topic on Montreal Canadiens social media. Folks going out there and saying, hey, the Islanders could be prone to rebuilding now. This could be a chance for them to shell out some of their mainstay guys. And for the Montreal Canadiens, a team that needs a second-line center with the absence of Kirby Dach, a Bo Horvat or a Mathew Barzal can be an extremely intriguing option for fans. However, in this video, I wanted to revisit the link with one of these two guys. And no, it's not the one who's primarily noted as a center in Bo Horvat. Today we're revisiting the Mathew Barzal conversation because a tweet has resurfaced from Pierre LeBrun from literally 8 years ago that is all the more relevant today. You won't even believe this, but Pierre LeBrun said on December 1st, 2017 on Twitter, "One thing I didn't put in my Barzal article, he's fluent in French. He thinks his parents put him in French immersion as a kid in Coquitlam, BC, because his dad secretly hoped he might play for the Habs one day." Oh my. Oh my. My, oh my, oh my. There is a subconscious, subliminal link between Mathew Barzal and the Montreal Canadiens. His dad secretly may have wanted him to play for the Canadiens one day? Oh boy, that is interesting. And I get it that it's an observation that was made by Barzal, and Pierre LeBrun's the one who reported it literally 8 years ago. But is this not, like, destined? Is it not fate written in the stars here to acknowledge just what kind of a future Mathew Barzal can have in the National Hockey League? This is a guy who has made a reputation for himself as probably more of a useful winger than a center, but also a guy who has the speed to keep up with the best of the best. Might I remind you, it was 5 years ago that Mathew Barzal beat Connor McDavid in the fastest skating competition at the All-Star Game, a feat that nobody thought was actually possible, but was one that was accomplished. And Barzal, if I recall correctly, he did say in his winning speech that, yeah, Connor McDavid is the best skater in the world, or he's the fastest skater in the world, something to that effect, and he was like, yeah, I'm happy to beat him, but he is still the best. So, Mathew Barzal remaining humble there, but speed is the name of the game, which does kind of beg a question as to whether or not his usefulness in Montreal, should he get traded to the Habs, would be suited more as a speedy winger, like the role he has had with the Islanders in certain parts of his NHL career. We had spoken about this already, but in his rookie season, where he had his career high in points, Mathew Barzal was the winger to John Tavares' top power play, and Barzal, with his roving style, he'd take the puck, hold onto it, skate around the zone a little bit, make a pass, and then there'd be another pass, and then Barzal would get the secondary assist. He was a secondary assist merchant in his 85-point year in 2017-2018, his first NHL season, wherein he beat Besser and Keller for the Calder. But as he continued. He developed as a center because John Tavares left New York, and then Bo Horvat came, and then Barzal was playing as a winger for him. If you wanted to say that Mathew Barzal is best suited for the wing, is this maybe the best likely option to replace Patrik Laine on a line with Ivan Demidov? I don't know, that kind of sounds like an intriguing idea, doesn't it? Barzal, Newhook, and Demidov. Maybe Demidov and Newhook are okay together. It's just kind of Patrik Laine, I would say, that was the worst fit on that line in Game 1. Demidov didn't look all too great either, to be fair, but I mean, he's played 3 NHL games, so I think we can give him a little bit of a pass so far. But Barzal and Demidov, 2 guys who can hold on to the puck, 2 guys who can rove around and protect the puck, and who can use their speed to create space and lanes. I think that'd be a really interesting dive into Montreal offensive potential. But then again, if you're thinking of Barzal as a winger, I can understand why some Canadiens fans wouldn't really be on board with that. The idea is you want more of a center option to play behind Suzuki. You want that core piece down the middle. Bo Horvat would be a great second-line center option behind Nick Suzuki. Mathew Barzal, I don't really feel comfortable with him as a second-line shutdown center-type role, just because he's more of an offensive-leaning guy. You want this guy to be in the fight, attacking the offensive zone with speed. It's not necessarily the defensively-minded two-way game that you would assume that Bo Horvat is able to execute. And I only say it like that because I think Bo Horvat's two-way status is kind of overrated at this point. He was never really the best two-way guy in Vancouver. He had that reputation, but it wasn't really something that I think Canucks fans would note. Maybe it's because the Canucks penalty kills were so bad when Bo Horvat was the top center on there. He could win faceoffs decently well, but his defensive acumen wasn't really like Selke level. Heck, even Elias Pettersson was better defensively than Bo Horvat was in certain parts of their careers. But shut down two-way north-south sniper centers be damned. Mathew Barzal is a guy whose connection to Montreal is actually seemingly real, thanks to his folks over here in Coquitlam, BC. Just a little bit of a drive away from me here in the Lower Mainland, Coquitlam, man, and the French immersion classes in British Columbia. Mathew Barzal getting sent over there because he feels like his dad may have secretly wanted him to play for the Habs one day. You know, Mathew Barzal was a really good hockey player in the BC scene, went first overall in the WHL draft back in the day, and also was a total superstar for the Burnaby Winter Club as a preteen. So I'm kind of thinking, you know, there is a legitimately non-zero possibility that Mathew Barzal's family, especially his dad, was looking at this guy and saying, yeah, he's really good at hockey. He may legitimately have a chance to be an NHLer. So throw him in French immersion and let's see him learn French so he could play for the Canadiens one day. That is crazy. And it is the most unexpected link that we would have seen out of Mathew Barzal and the Montreal Canadiens. So I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Barzal and whether or not you think this connection with the Habs is actually worth thinking about. Yay or nay, agree or disagree. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.